Alright, here we go, guys. We're going to put some torque converter bolts in. That's a little over 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to use about a 1/16 inch washer. So it's not more than 1/4 inch when we pull it forward. But now, unfortunately, well, fortunately, I don't know if you can see that or not, but our torque converter from Circle D has 3 sets of bolt holes. One's for the Turbo 350 Power Glide and a bunch of other transmissions. One's for the 4L60E 98 and up bolt pattern, and one's for the Turbo 400 and the 4L80E. So we was able to use the stock flex plate with that adapter sleeve. Can you see the adapter sleeve up in there? Yeah, with the adapter sleeve. We can get it to focus up in there. Yep. See, that's the adapter sleeve. See where the pilot of the, if you want more information on this, watch my last video. But the pilot on the front of the torque converter is supposed to go up in the back of the crank. Well, it's too short to do that, so on these dished 4L60E flex plates, they put on these Vortec LS motors, so you have to run that spacer. I'm always able to use the stock flex plate because of the 3-bolt pattern torque converter we have. And I go all over that on my last video, but unfortunately, this torque converter bolt hole is too small for my bolt. The other two, the bolt fits through just fine, but for some reason, this one is too small. So we're going to use the Dremel with this little bit on it and see if we can't hollow the hole out a little bit. This of the 3 holes, that only that one hole is too small for the bolt. And I mean, it's barely too small for the bolt. But let's hollow it out. About 10 minutes of dremeling, and there we go. We got the washer in. That makes it about 3/16 thick. I already measured it. But now we're not going to tighten all the bolts up just yet. We're going to put all the bolts in first, and then we'll come back around and we'll tighten up the converter bolts to the flex plate. And we're using some Loctite red on the bolts. Alright, all the bolts and the washers are in with Loctite. It's just easier to keep that gap in there to put them washers in. It ain't easy. I kind of put the washer up in the hole, and then I stuck the bolt through and pushed it against the washer to hold it in place. And then I used the screwdriver and kind of released the pressure off the bolt a little and pushed the washer in place, and then pushed the bolt in and threaded it in, just to make sure you tighten up the bolt enough that it's not going to hit anything when you turn the motor over. So now we can tighten them all up. And what I usually do, I take a screwdriver and stick right there in the teeth and up against the trans tunnel, and it'll hold that tight. It'll hold it from spinning while you tighten up the nut, if you don't have anyone to, you know, hold a ratchet on the crank bolt. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to tighten them all up. We're going to go through them twice and just tighten them up as tight as we can with that wrench right there. Can't really get a socket in there. Yeah. And again, guys, when you push that converter up against the flex plate, you don't want to pull it out of the transmission no more than 1/4 inch. So if you've got more than a 1/4 inch gap there, you need to make up that space with some spacers. I just use some flat washers. Alright, there we go, guys. They're all tightened up. I went through them twice. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but before there was a space in our spacer, and now there ain't a space no more. It's all the way back against, I don't want to focus in there, does it? It's all the way back against the flex plate like it should be. There we go. So that's all good. Woot woot. Let's I'm gonna put this starter up in here and see if it still leaves me enough room to get to that crank position sensor right there. I think it will. I don't know if it will or not. We'll see. Oh man, I forgot to bring the starter down here with me. It's the worst part of working on cars. You get down here and then you forget something, have to get right back up. Alright, there's the starter. There's two different types. Some will be short right here. That uses the shorter bolt. These are both long. But I ordered starter bolts. I paid like 10 bucks for starter bolts. And it had starter bolts in the package. Dang it. But yeah, we'll go ahead and put that up there and see what we got. So the hot wire goes here. It grounds itself to the motor, and then there's a hot trigger wire when you turn the key on. It goes right here, and that's what energizes it to start. But let's go ahead and throw that up in there. Might as well. All right, starter's in, but it didn't leave much room for that cam position sensor back there. So we're probably going to have to take that back out just to plug in the cam position sensor. We'll see. But yeah, bolts fit good. Good thing it did come with bolts, because the bolts I ordered, they were too long. I don't know how I screwed that up. Oh yeah, look, they're way too long. Alright, so I got this fuel rail, but I don't know what fittings go in the end. Usually these are Orb AN fittings, but that one is not. So tomorrow I'm going to go to the hardware store and see if that's a pipes connection size, and see if I can get one of those to an 8AN, because that's a pretty good fuel rail. Have to clean it out. I see stuff in there. But yeah, we got these injectors. They're the 220 Bosch, and the Haltech Rebel don't have a connector for those. It has a connector for EV1, so I bought these, and I'll put a picture in here of what these are. And these are the Denso to EV1 connector for these Bosch injectors. For those injectors, and here's the part number on the injectors. There's the part number on the injectors. See if we can zoom into this. Bring a lot out. 028158821. And they got really weird connectors on them. And yeah, here's what the connector is. The adapters we ordered. And those fit like a champ. Yes, sir. And then the EV1. That looks like the injector for the EV1. So the Haltech Rebel will plug in right there. A little bit longer than I like, but it'll work. I want to take this off and plug the hole. I don't know what would be a good thing to plug that hole with. If y'all know anything, let me know. And I want to take that out and plug that hole, because we just need a vacuum line to run to the Haltech Rebel. It's got its own map sensor inside of it. So if y'all know something to take that out and plug that hole, please let me know. And this is your clean air in for the PVC system, so we'll just block that port. And this will be our vacuum hose. The throttle body we're using, it had a clean air in also. I had to tap and plug that one because it would hit this one. Where did it go? Here it is. Yeah, it was stick like that, and when I went to go put the throttle body on, it hit right there. So I tapped that with 1/8 inch MPT, and it had a 1/8 inch MPT cap. I put that on there, but we'll have to plug this one. I'll just plug it on the hose. That just is your clean air in. It goes to your valve cover. It puts clean air in the motor, while the PVC sucks it all out. The PVC, I don't even know where it's at on these intakes. A lot of them are in the valve cover on the passenger side. But this one don't have the EGR or nothing. It just has this evap stuff. Yeah, this one must have went to the valve cover. You'll have a PVC valve. That's probably, yeah, that's where this went. Your PVC valve's on the back on the valve cover, and then the vacuum sucks it out. We're going to be having that. We're going to take the PVC valve out, and PC valve, I always say that backwards. But anyway, PVC, PCV. We'll take that out, and then this might be our boost reference for the map sensor and vacuum reference for the map sensor and the Haltech Rebel. And then this one back here goes to the brake booster, which we don't use that one either, so we'll probably plug that one also. But yeah, if y'all have any ideas what size that is, I mean, it's over a ½ inch. I think it measured 0.565 in inches. And y'all know a good thing to plug that hole with if I take it out, or to plug that hole with if I take that out. If not, where the clips always break off of these that hold those on. If you get under boost, it's going to shoot right out. If I can't find something to plug that with, I'll just make a bracket that'll come over that will not let that come out. And I guess we'll just leave that in there and just plug this hole. So I don't even know if it'd matter if we plug that because it's not hooked up. But yeah, that's the plan. Waiting on an alternator bracket. We'll put the alternator on. I've already got the alternator. I need to figure out what fitting for these fuel rails, or just get new fuel rails that already have the fittings on them. And then we have to get some fittings and some 8AN and some fittings to run the fuel system. The way I'm going to do it is we're going to come up in the back. The fuel pump's going to come straight to the back, come up. We'll split this, and then we'll put the regulator over here somewhere. Bring it into the regulator and then out, and then the return. That's how we're going to do it. We'll control the fuel pressure. You know, it comes through, and then the regulator controls how much pressure all this sees. Then it goes back to the return, and we'll make a video on that. But yeah, long-winded. Oh, and yeah, for y'all that were watching before, I had kinked this trying to bend it, and I couldn't get that in there, so I found a socket that fit perfectly in there. Tapped on it a little with a hammer and knocked the kink out. And now my locking dipstick will go in and lock like it's supposed to. Sweet. So on them fuel rails, I got a bunch of AM fittings back here. One of them boxes. I got every size you can think of. None of them fit those fuel rails. So I went to the parts store, and a 3/8 pipe. Yeah, 3/8 pipe plug would fit in it, but it wouldn't screw in. It got caught on the threads. It wasn't the right thread pitch. Maybe that's why somebody give those to me. I'm gonna throw them away because I can't figure out what fittings go on the end of them. But we got the oil filter on. Filled the oil filter up with oil. Lubed the top rubber ring. Put that on there hand tight. And we filled up the oil with almost 6 quarts. This pan with the filter is supposed to hold 6.2. I got the same pan on my 5.3 and I just put 6 quarts in it. But I saved a little bit of oil to prime it with. Well, that ain't gonna work because we blocked the priming hole. Not a big deal. We'll just disable the injectors and crank it over a little bit. I did my 5.3 that way, it'll be fine. But I'm gonna go ahead and lay the diaper in it and go ahead and set the car down on the ground so I can reach in the engine bay better, because Chris got one of these little handy dandy steam port kits. I'm going to toss that together and we're going to throw that on. Then we can throw the intake on. Alright, engine diaper is on tentatively. Just got it laying in there for now because bolted up. We gotta have the exhaust on. I think I can get to that cam sensor from here. Yeah. Definitely get to the starter bolts. Now let's put the steam port things in, and then we can put the intake on for good. Alright, we got this thing here, hopefully to clear the truck intake. Well, it clears just fine. I didn't think it'd clear all that. Clears it good. And then we cleaned out the throttle body. I don't know if I said that or not. Yeah, torque that thing down. Torque her down. Alright, got the starter all wired up. This big red one controls everything inside the dash, inside the car, the headlights and stuff. And then this big black one straight from the battery. And then that one with the blue on it, it comes up here and goes to the alternator. So it goes from the alternator to the starter and then to the battery, and then I've run this to the starter as well that controls everything inside the car. Even turns the headlight and stuff on. But this is the exciter wire for the starter. Put 12 volts right there and then it starts up. But it won't work right now because the motor has to be grounded, and I haven't grounded the motor yet. But here's the ground to the frame. The ground from the battery runs up and connects to the frame back there. I don't know. Yeah, it's connected to the frame back there. So we go from the frame up here over to the engine. I'll probably do it right there where the AC bracket mounts. We'll have to sand that off. And then I do ground it. Got it grounded from the back of the head to the firewall. Then I got another small one from the firewall to the frame. And then from the frame it comes up to the fender. So we got grounds everywhere. Now, one thing I'm not sure of with this Haltech Rebel, which we probably don't even need this anymore, but this was for the alternator. Probably just wind up cutting this back up in the harness. I don't think we're going to use it, but it would be nice to see the alternator gauge inside the car. But yeah, I don't know if we can even use that with the Haltech Rebel to make the dash. So we'll probably just cut that back up inside the harness and leave it. But yeah, look how clean everything looks as far as wires go. There's nothing there. But we ain't ran the Haltech Rebel yet. I need to get some fuel rails. I need to get some bolts. And then we're going to have to figure out a bunch of fittings to run these big old lines to the fuel rails, and then through a regulator and then back. But I guess I'm at a standstill now. I could start wiring or laying the harness out for the Haltech Rebel. Maybe we'll do that. Oh, also, this is the power wire that went to the HEI distributor before, and then we had it running to the MSD6AL, but that's going to be the key-on hot wire for the Haltech Rebel. We'll run it back through the dash with the wires. Let's put the wiring harness in. Well, the hole for the grommet for the Haltech Rebel needs to be a little over 2 inches. And our hole's only about 1 3/4. So I'm just going to go order parts, and that'll conclude this video. I kind of want to do the putting the wiring the Rebel up all in one video. But y'all, thanks for watching. Have a great day.